family.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to our weekly Wednesday tip. This week we are focusing on reading strategies. This week we are doing assessments and finding students' reading levels, and we are so proud of the progress your children are making. However, we have noticed some students are not using some of the reading strategies that Ms. Bowers and I have taught in our small groups. So we want to teach them to you so that way you can further support your child at home when they're reading to you. So the first one we're going to model is looking at the pictures. It seems very basic, but students often forget to use that strategy.
For example, in this book, it says you can see, and if they get stuck on that word that they don't know, you can say, well, look at the pictures. And then they can figure out it's polar bears.
So really you're prompting them and not giving them the answer. You're kind of just reminding them of a strategy to use. Another one is get your mouth ready.
So again, with the polar bears, if I got to the word polar and I said, look at the bears, you could just say, let's look at that word, get your mouth ready. And they would have to get their mouth ready to see the p in polar, and then it will prompt them to think about polar rather than just the word bears.
Another one we use is reread. And the reason we do that is to make sure that what we're reading looks right, sounds right, does it make sense?
So in this sentence about the polar bears, it says, their fur is white. Well, if your child came across and they said, their fur is water, does that make sense? Let's think about what we're reading and reread it.
Does that look at the word? Does that look right? Does that look like water? Try again. Another one we do, and this is when we're really just starting to get into, is skip it and come back to it. That often helps students really hear the rest of the sentence and maybe come back and see if they can fill in what would make sense.
Again, if they don't know the word fur, if they say their is white. Well, what is white? Oh, their fur is white. That's going to make more sense.
They like that strategy. Another one is to chunk it.
Yes.
When we chunk a word, we find a part of the word that we know within the word. We can kind of break it apart and see if we can read the first part and then lift up our finger and read the other part.
So on this page, there's a sentence, the lions are resting. So what we could do is we could say, okay, let's chunk it. And they know that ing says ing. Just like that too. And so they can go back to the beginning of it and sound out rest, ing. So they were able to chunk up that word.
And they'll use their finger to cover up part and then try the other part and then put it together.
Yep.
That is chunking. And the last one, which we haven't yet covered, it is to try a different vowel sound. If they're reading a word and they use the short vowel instead of the long vowel or vice versa, and they're close, sometimes just prompting them and say, try a different vowel sound is a really good strategy.
So for the word climb, these chimps climb trees. Well, if they went, if you sound it out, it looks like imb. So you'd have to ask them, well, does climb sound correct? Let's think about a word that sounds, let's try the different vowel. Climb. No. they won't do the B.
But a lot of these strategies go hand in hand with each other. And we are going to make copies of this and send home for you to have at home. So that way when your child is reading to you, instead of you giving them answers or them just relying on you, you can place this in front of them and maybe have them pick a strategy that they want to use, or you can just point to a strategy. But this will really encourage them to always use these and rely less on us and become more independent and fluent readers.
And it's okay to just pick one to focus on for one day. If when you're reading, you're just going to remind them, today we're going to really look at those pictures. We're going to think before we say anything. We're going to look at those pictures. And then maybe the next night or another time, try, okay, this time I want you to always get your mouth ready when you come across a word. And just challenge them to always use a strategy.
It makes them take ownership of their reading. So we hope that you find this helpful. This will be in your child's folder on Friday. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good day. Bye.